Yeah, and we are live. So, welcome back to Critical African Thinkers, where we have fruitful conversations and we question everything under the microscope of logic to ascertain what is most factual and logically consistent. So, as we all know, Elon Musk just purchased Twitter, and many on the left are having a fit over it, while many on the right, many conservatives are worshiping at his feet, literally like he is the reincarnation of Jesus. So these are many more what we're going to be covering in the conversation today. But before we do that, I would love to just go through a little monologue of something that I have observed, which I would term right wokeness and left wokeness. Now, ironically, it was Stanley here himself who drew my attention to the fact that people on the right can be just as woke as people on the left. And I think he's right because I began to observe certain tendencies. And I'm going to demonstrate it with one of the examples or with an example. So today I was going through YouTube, I was watching some stuff on YouTube, and I came across this video by Andrew Schultz, the comedian, and his friends, Akash Singh, and some other guys in their flagrant show, where they talk about issues. They just try to make it funny. They give commentary. So they were talking about Candace Owens's new documentary, The Greatest Lie Ever Told, the BLM documentary. So they were sort of critical of the documentary, and 2 points in which they were critical of the documentary was that one, they said documentaries should be illegal because most of the time documentaries are usually tailored to fit the narrative of the narrator or the producer. So you get tons and tons of footage that are acquired during the production of the documentary process, but the full 90-minute clip you see is cut out to show a certain narrative. It might not be representative of what they actually found out during the documentary. So that was one of the critique. Now, they didn't say it specifically about Candace's documentary, they just said about documentaries in general. Now, the other point that they made was that the claim that Candace made that George Floyd died from fentanyl overdose and not because of the actions of Derek Chauvin was inaccurate. And he went further to explain why he thought so. Now, it was striking to me that when I went, why were people saying that just because you disagree with what they're saying, just because you disagree with the position they are saying, doesn't mean that they have gone woke. I mean, no one was offering a rebuttal to what Schultz was saying, but they went straight to saying Schultz had gone woke. Now, I would say I'm agnostic on that point. I don't care either way. But it seemed strange to me that instead of addressing the argument that he was making, a label was attached to it. This person has gone woke. And I ask myself, how is this any different from when the left calls people transphobe, homophobe, racist, and so many other titles without addressing the arguments that someone is putting forward? So I think it's the same thing. So if you're going to call someone a name without addressing their arguments, if you're going to just label someone without providing proof for why that label is true for them, then you are woke, whether of the right, whether of the left. So I see this across the spectrum. That it's something that I think is worrisome that everybody's doing it. Even the cancel culture thing. There are sometimes the people on the right they would want to cancel a business because the business has in their mind gone woke, but it isn't any more different from what's happening on the left. So I think that people are complex and I think issues are nuanced, and I am very, very suspect of anyone who aligns rigidly to one position inflexibly without taking into consideration that there might be truth, there might be merit on what the other side is saying. So even though myself, I would say I'm more conservative or I lean to the right, on issues, I like to take it on a case by case basis to see which argument makes more sense. And most of the time, I'm always going to align more with the right, but at times, I'm going to see merit in what the left is saying as well. So that's just my monologue before we go into the conversation today. Stanley, what do you think of that?
Well, I think you're mostly right. Actually, like 98% right. It was something I read maybe a year or two ago about the definition of wokeness. And if I recall, it was someone who was more or less on the right that said it. Essentially, wokeness is virtue signaling. And that's why I think that, the right does it as much as the left, at least in the US. Virtue signaling is woke in expecting other people to see the virtue in whatever it is you're arguing. To me, I don't, I think there are differences, um, but the differences are basically what you're woke about. So I appreciate you, pointing this out.
Yeah. So now let's go over to the conversation. So Elon Musk just bought Twitter. What do you think the implications of his buying Twitter is? I mean, some people have said, oh, he's coming to save free speech. He's a free speech absolutionist. So he's going to allow people to be expressive on the platform. There's going to be little censorship, little or no censorship on the platform. And this would have an impact on the greater cultural milieu. I mean, if Twitter is the marketplace, if it's like a public square for everyone for ideas, then isn't this a good thing that Elon Musk has purchased Twitter and made it open for everyone to be able to voice their opinion? So what do you think the implications are for Elon Musk buying Twitter?
Um, I'm going to remain neutral. Um, I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. And I don't see it. I don't see the left going that, postal, to use an antiquated term, over Elon Musk doing it, buying Twitter. I don't see a huge reaction either way.
But you're not on Twitter, so you won't see that reaction. So
Oh, yeah, you bring up a good point. Okay, touche.
so
Um,
there are a lot
but
of people. Okay, go ahead.
well, let me ask you a question. I think Twitter is the best place not to be, for other points of view that aren't on Twitter. Now, that's
Mm,
my personal point. I think you brought up a great point. I'm not on Twitter. I
mm.
think that's a valid and probably a better point.
Now, so for those of us who are on Twitter, we have seen a lot of comments even before when it seemed like the deal was going to go through. There were a lot
Mhm.
of comments like, I'm going to get off this app if Elon Musk purchases Twitter. Much like in
Mhm.
2016, where a lot of Americans said, I'm going to go to Canada if Donald Trump wins the election. And they didn't end up going to Canada. So now, in fact, today when I went back to Twitter today, I saw a lot of backtracking with a lot of them saying, no,
Of course.
we're not going to leave anymore. We're going to fight this. We're going to, and I'm like, dude, but you said you were going to leave. So why
Why are you still here?
why are you still here? And it's very telling because it's not as if he's done anything yet. You don't know which way he's going to go. You don't know whether he's going to be so conservative, or you don't know whether he's going to allow the platform run the way it's currently running. You don't know if he's going to even be more biased towards the left, but you just assume that, okay, this is going to be a bad thing for the left, so we have to fight against it. And another comment that kept coming up was, now we want the government to come and regulate Twitter because Twitter is a marketplace. It's like a marketplace for everybody. Before, the same people on the left will tell you that, oh, Twitter is a private company, so if they are censoring conservatives on the platform, they have the right to do so. So it just seems inconsistent that at one point in time when it was favoring your side, you said it was okay for Twitter to do whatever the hell they want because they are a private company. But now that it seems as if it's not going to favor your side, you want the government to come in to be an arbiter. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, again, I'm not on Twitter, so I don't know, and I don't feel the urge to rush and join Twitter. Um, I have now. This is going to be kind of a weird point, but I've seen plenty of people on the left who agree, and actually, it's kind of an agreement point that the government should take over Twitter, and basically declare it a public square. I'm neutral on that too, but I do think that private companies can censor all they want. It's the government that can't violate the First Amendment, and it's a complicated thing. The whole you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, that sort of thing. And I agree with that. And I'm neutral. I think I think that there's a good argument that the government should declare it a utility or something like that. But the weird thing is that things in the U.S. that are public utilities, like electric companies, they don't run any better. Um, and once the government takes it over,
I,
uh,
I think I think that's almost universal because even in my country, things that are run by the government are shit. So it's I don't think it's going to be any better. I don't think it's going to be any freer if the government takes it
I
over.
agree.
And frankly, I don't see any need for why the government should take it over. I don't see.
I'm kind of with you on that. It's not going to get better. It'll
Yep.
still be as contentious. And again, I'm not an Elon Musk fan. Let me put it out there. However, I don't see him as like a Trump.
Mm,
So, you know what? Let's see what he does. I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad. Um, that's kind of my position.
good. So now this brings us to the next point, which is the right's response. Now, for many on the right, I've been seeing a lot of tweets saying, oh, since Elon Musk took over Twitter, I have been gaining a lot of followers. Before I was shadow banned. Now my tweets can reach a lot of people. Thank you, Elon Musk. Thank you, Elon Musk. Thank you, Elon Musk. I've been seeing a lot of tweets like that. I'm like, really? Has he really done anything within the 48 hours that he's purchased Twitter to effect that kind of change that immediately that people are gaining more followers? I don't know. Maybe it is true. Maybe it's not. But the level of veneration that's coming his way is sort of disturbing to me because cults of personalities usually devolve
Mhm,
really,
mhm.
really fast into something that's so even though I respect certain people, I try as much as possible not to put them in such a way that it becomes difficult for me to criticize them or to see something that's wrong in what they're doing, right? So, but I see that with a lot of people, and it's the same thing with the left and the right. People just look for someone that they think they agree with, and they just latch onto it, and they're not they're not they, they're not able to be critical about that person, about what they say or what they do anymore, and they just follow it in droves. And when someone else is critical of that person, they say, oh, you're hating on this person, you're unnecessarily attacking this person. This is so that's kind of my worry. How much has Elon Musk actually done within this short space of time for him to be getting that kind of accolades from people on the right?
Well, it's not even been a week. So, um, I think that Elon Musk is going to do what a billionaire does. Someone who's into business, he's going to try. I don't think free speech, again, this is me personally, But I don't think free speech is, it's a secondary or tertiary like thing. Elon Musk wants to figure out how to make Twitter profitable. That's what
Mm,
businessmen do.
mm,
And I think a lot of people aren't, at least in, what I'm reading, his goal is to make it profitable.
mm,
Um, Agree or disagree, but that's what business people do. You don't buy something to make it not profitable.
mm. You know, that's maybe true, but in a sense, given the unique kind of person that Elon Musk is, I mean, his desire to own Twitter was 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 sort of um would I say, was it a joke? I mean, one of his friends, I think it's the Babylon Bee, was they were banned from Twitter for something that they posted, and Elon Musk just said, "Oh, I'm going to buy Twitter so I can bring my friends back on Twitter." And he's like a child who wants something and just goes for it. I mean, almost, if you see his career path, it's almost like someone who is just dreaming about things and is trying to make his fantasies come true. So is it not possible that he would just say, you know what, I'm not really concerned about the profits this business is going to give me. I just want it to be my little pet project, to be my little toy, to just have fun with it and do whatever the hell I want to do with it without recourse to whether it's profitable or not.
Well, you know what? Um, I hope I hope you're right. It would be like, and you know me. I think that would be like great. I'll be an Elon if he bought it just so he could make it his personal trolling vehicle. I'm not sure I would have a problem with that
I think he would
because
have
he's
been
a
a much.
famous troll.
Yeah, he is. He really is. I mean, did you see what he did when he went into the Twitter? He went with a sink. He went and the idea was let that sink in. I'm the new boss. That guy is just something else. So, but I'm very cynical when people, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I'm very suspicious when people think that one person can save a situation, one person can change a situation. And maybe I'm just usually
No,
pessimistic
I think you're right.
because I
One person. Now, if you have $1 billion, you might be able to do something that normal people can't. But like I said, I'm pretty neutral. I just want to see what he does. And
yeah,
then, I'll critique one way or the other.
exactly. And
He
and
hasn't,
that's
he hasn't, he's just getting the drapes on his windows
mm,
and putting the new carpet in. Give him
mm,
time to either it's not going to hurt my feelings if he makes it something I want to join. It's
mm.
not going to hurt my feelings. And you know me, I'm left of center. It won't hurt my feelings.
So what would make you join Twitter?
Um, Probably nothing because that's just me. I'm kind of a trollish person too.
Yeah, you get
I
banned in
just
a week.
I knowing myself, um I've always wanted to explore Black Twitter, um, because you know, I think they're the people who are really like famous, that do Black Twitter are just hilarious. So that would be it. Joining that fun. But I'm truly I don't have an opinion on Elon yet. I am impressed that if he's a child who has a new toy, he accomplished it.
Mm. So there's a news story that's going around. Did you hear of this Paul Pelosi attack in his
Yes.
house?
Hmm.
What do you know about the story?
Well, I know he's in the hospital.
He's in the hospital. So
Yeah, and
can
they
you give
expect
like a
him to make a full recovery. Nancy Pelosi, I think, was in D.C. She wasn't even there, and
mm,
it was a hammer attack. Dude broke a glass door or something, like a sliding door to get in, and Mr. Pelosi, Paul Pelosi, was able to, like, you know gain control of this person and not allow himself to be beat to death, which my guess is was the goal.
so what's your impression of the story? Because there's been in multiple accounts of almost contradictory, funny things that has come up in this story. What's your impression of the story?
My impression, and um, according to the attacker's family, he was kind of um, let's just say he was not a leftist. I'm gonna be very careful here. Um, I am also going to be so careful that um, it was probably someone who's unbalanced, someone who feels strongly about, MAGA or whatever, and the story will develop.
Now
I don't. I'm sorry. I
that
misunderstood.
was that was the original claim that this guy is a MAGA loving whatever. But
Well,
there are
no,
also
I just heard about his Facebook account, something his family said, etc.
yeah, but there's also been other information that's come up that this guy is, a BLM loving, um, um, one of these identities, I don't know, thin person. I mean, so and he has this history of being a nudist, and there's so many things that he has that may be associated more with the left than you would with the right. So it just seems all kind of
Nudists
funny,
are
fuzzy.
leftists. Didn't know that one.
I not that specifically, but that was something that came up. But there are other things that I can't point my finger to currently because there's been so much on that story.
Right.
And yeah, that's it's also confusing that, immediately it came out, it was painted as a right-wing nut job. And other stories are coming up that
Well, I'm gonna
is his
take a guess that he was probably rather right wing, but they're crazy progressives too. Kind of like my opinion on Elon. I'm gonna let this develop, and the reason I'm kind of neutral on both the issues is, um, you know, people like Templar do get one point that um, the mainstream media, it's just they can be sloppy. I understand that you want to do scoops and stuff like that, but I'm learning slowly but surely, and maybe too late, that let the story develop. Much like the January 6th committee, a lot of stuff that we didn't know and they produced evidence of. Um, Let the story develop. Um, don't be so quick to claim right or left, or we just don't know.
yep. So another point that I wanted to raise was how did he get into the apartment? I mean, don't they have
Well, no,
security?
he
Don't
had
they
a
have
hammer and broke a glass door, was what I read. And
so
it
there's
wasn't an apartment, it was a house, I think. But, I don't even know those details. I only know the initial reporting.
so one would think that wherever the Speaker of the House and her spouse lives would be a little bit more secured enough for someone with just a hammer to be able to get into. I mean, isn't that porous, especially with I mean, this is not the first time that a politician has been attacked in recent times. And how could it be such that she and her spouse will live in a place where there is no um, There is no security. There is not enough security.
Um, that's not that unimaginable. Why would they want to live? I mean, you've heard stories about presidents like ducking the Secret Service to go get ice cream or something. No one wants to live like that generally. And, um, I don't know the deep background, but maybe they felt, hey, we live in San Francisco or the Bay Area, and it is, a safe space. There's obviously they didn't feel threatened, so that's why they didn't. I bet they'll change their, I bet they'll change their security arrangements now. But, before then, I guess they just didn't feel the need to, you know, be under constant surveillance.
Mm. So, if anyone would like to be a part of this conversation, the link is in the comment section. You can call in and let's talk. Now, I've been following this Kanye's story, and I recently watched his interview with Lex Friedman. Did you watch that interview?
No, I'm
Oh yeah.
pretty much done with Kanye. I have formed my opinion.
And what's the opinion you formed?
Um, I don't want my son to be like him. So that's pretty much my opinion. Um, I think that I think while I think he is like a Candace Owens who can write music.
What does that even
No,
mean?
no, no publicity, no news, no talk about you is bad. So, I'm not impressed. Um, I've kind of put stuff up on your Discord. I just and actually a lot of people on your Discord and the other Discords, they disagree with me. I think I'm not impressed. Maybe that's my whole point. I'm just not impressed. Sometimes publicity isn't a good thing.
But I think one of the issues that I have with your position on this Kanye thing is that you think him singling out the Jews is a problem. I think it's a problem too anyway. But you don't think it's a problem if he singles out white people. I
But he
mean, white
didn't.
people. No, no, of course it didn't. But if he did, you wouldn't think it's a problem. And I thought that was a bit
No, it would
contradictory.
depend on how he did it. I mean, you can't just go out and, single out every white person and go, you're all bad. You have to
But
be sometimes specific.
he didn't say that. Did he say all Jews were this or all Jews were that? He didn't literally say that. So,
No, and my argument. Jews are pretty much um, part of um, the 60% of people who identify as white in America. I don't see, you see more daylight between Jewishness and whiteness. You see more daylight than I do. I think they are just a subset like the Irish or etc.
so if he were to that statement that Kanye made that's gotten him into trouble now, if you were to
Mhm.
remove Jew and replace with white, what would be your impression of that statement?
I would think he'd be more accurate.
And you wouldn't think that he'd be, you wouldn't think that he'd be crossing the line.
If he said that white people control American culture, how would I be wrong?
No,
Or
he
how
didn't.
would he be?
He didn't say culture. He said
Well,
media.
I know
He
what he
said
didn't say.
entertainment.
You asked the hypothetical. If we substitute white for Jewish, he still wouldn't be wrong and he'd be more accurate. That's my opinion.
So he wouldn't be wrong if he's still, so is he wrong currently by saying what he said? Is he wrong?
He's less right than I think he's avoiding. I think he's avoiding a problem by singling
No,
a specific group of white people out. If
no,
we substitute Irish for Jewish, I would still have a problem with that.
but white is a category on its own as well. So
I'm sorry,
if you
say
have
that again.
white is a category of its own, even though there is
No,
diversity
it's not
within that
separate.
category.
It's not separate. I sent you a Pew poll that basically said most Jewish people identify as white. Again, I don't see the separation. If most Jewish people identify as white, saying white would be more correct. It would be a wider umbrella. In my personal opinion, focusing on a specific sector of whiteness opens you up to being called anti Semitic.
Now, but see, I'm not saying he's right in what he said, but I'm just saying, what if he's right? What if the Jews overwhelmingly control the media? Would he be wrong in saying that even though the Jews are a white group, I mean, it's not the Irish, it's not the Germans. Within this white group itself, there's a subset of white people who have an overwhelming influence in the media. If that were true, would he be wrong in saying that? Why would
He
he
would
need
be
to say
not as
white?
correct as he could be. I think white people overwhelmingly control the media and, you know, Hollywood, etc.
So if it were to be the case that Irish people overwhelmingly control the media, and he said Irish people overwhelmingly control the media, would that be a problem?
Yes, I think he would be less right than he could be
No, why would that be a problem if it is true that Irish
because
people control the media?
Italians or Irish, well, Irish, you said Irish, would be identified as white, at least since, the early 20th century. It is more correct that white people control the media more so than other groups.
But
And again, I
white is
don't.
not a monolith. White is not a monolith.
Yeah, white culture in America is monolithic. That's an argument that doesn't even make sense. America, uh, white culture, Euro culture, which Jews are a part of, it is monolithic in the US.
Yeah, but these people are still distinct people. They still have their distinct
And see,
heritage.
I don't agree with that. I don't think they're distinct other than, um, you know, if you make the distinction.
So is black culture a monolith in America?
It depends on who you ask.
I'm asking you.
No, but I'm not saying black culture isn't a monolith. It's diverse, but black culture technically is 14% if you want to go by, demographics. It's 14%. White people are 60%, and I don't recall the Latino numbers. Monolithic. No, no culture is monolithic. But if you go and you just want to do gross numbers, yes. Um, Especially if you think about how white people view black people, they think it's monolithic and they are an overwhelming majority.
But
So again, it
you
depends on
think
who you ask.
you think white culture is monolithic, but you think black culture is diverse. How true
If
is
you
that?
just if you were an outsider and you were just looking at American culture, your prototypical American is not going to be Kanye West.
But See, if I see Kanye West and I see him speak,
You
I'm going
you're
to
you're
say I'm
you're
going to say
drifting
he's
away
American.
from my point.
No, no, I'm not drifting away from your point because I understand that America has both white and black people. Now,
No, what I my point was, if someone in the middle of the desert, say in the Sahara, thinks of America, they're not going to think Kanye West. They're going to think a white person.
why are you so sure that's what the case would be?
Well, I've been overseas for one, and Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. There are reasons for my point.
But that is besides the point. The main point is you said white culture is a monolith, right? But black culture is
No,
diverse. I'm trying to
I
understand.
said from outside the country, if you want to take a gross view, and we're not going to deal with nuance, we're not going to deal with knowing American culture. If you're outside the culture and just took a snapshot of America, it's white.
Okay, I think maybe I don't know whether we're talking past each other. Let's
We
say I
are.
agree. Let's say I agree that if you took a snapshot of America, it's white because obviously white people numerically they are dominant. But now the question is, I said that Jews are a distinct white group in America, just as much as the Russians, just as much as the Italians or the Germans are a distinct white group. You said no, that they are a monolith. And in the
Nope,
following
didn't
statement,
say
you
that
said
either. I said
no.
white people are a monolith. I said that I don't think there is as much daylight between Jewish and white as you're trying to prove. Jewish people, the I sent you the Pew poll, the Pew Research poll. Jewish people identify as white. If they identify as
I'm
well,
not
hold on. Let
contesting
me
that.
finish my point, please. If Jewish people identify as white, what is wrong with my point?
There is nothing wrong with your point, but I'm just saying that you are you have a problem with singling out groups, right? But
I don't have a
you
problem with it. I think Kanye West does.
no. When okay, Kanye West singled out a group and you think that was wrong, right?
Yes,
You
I think
think you shouldn't.
he could have made a larger point,
Good.
a
Now,
better
but
point.
I think that you do not have so much a problem with singling out groups as much as the group that is being singled out. Because white in itself is a group, and you wouldn't have a problem if he had said white. So your issue is not with him singling out a group. Your issue is the group that he singled out.
Yes, and I think by the very act of singling out a group, he opens himself up to the charge of anti-Semitism. Had he said white people control Hollywood, or whatever, the entertainment industry, I think he would not be charged with anti-Semitism.
So what would he have been charged with?
You know what? There would be people who would just say he's anti-white, or reverse racism, but I would agree with him if he said that. I don't
Uh,
agree with him now. And
oh,
yeah, it's a nuance. And I understand that it is my nuance. It's the way I see things. I don't expect other people to see my point, but in my opinion, just for me, it's a huge point.
all right. So we have Zachariah here. Zachariah.
Especially the way American demographics work, and the way American culture works.
Hmm. Okay, so maybe we'll circle back to that point. So let's get Zachariah into the conversation. So Zach, we've talked about wokeness in the right and wokeness in the left. We've talked about Elon Musk buying Twitter, the implications of that. We've talked about the response of the left to Elon Musk buying Twitter and the response of the right to Elon Musk buying Twitter. And we're currently talking about Kanye and his controversy. So where would you want to start with in your commentary on what we've talked about so far?
I'd like to start on Kanye first. I would like to start on Kanye.
All right, go right ahead.
I see purpose in his view. I mean, I see purpose in his objective. You know, we're living in a post-pandemic society, and people are concerned about money, right? And there's a lot of money and reputation in politics. So I think that he's trying to develop a form of self-reliance, because if you saw the interview with him and Piers Morgan, I think he noted that he only has about $120 million left in his bank account. But he's been so adamant. He's been so passionate on developing a relationship with Trump or just Republicans in general. You see him on Fox News talking with politicians. I see him doing some real interesting things in politics, but it just depends on how hard he's willing to go and pursue at it, you know.
So is this about him wanting to be in good terms with Republicans? Is that what you're saying? He wants to be
Yeah,
buddies with Trump and with the Republican
yeah,
Party?
yeah. I think that's what he's really seeking right now, because with the politics, we all know that Kanye is passionate about his voice, and I think that he wants his voice to be heard in
But,
politics, because he has
but
something to have. You know, he keeps on talking about, like, every 4 years, he keeps on saying he's going to vote for this year. It just seems like he already accomplished what he needed to accomplish in music. He already accomplished what he needed to accomplish in fashion. So he feels like, okay, maybe it's time for me to put my energy into politics.
but isn't it a weird way to go about it by singling out Jews? I mean, if you wanted to
Right,
build a career in politics,
right,
you're already buddies with Trump. You're already a Republican and a conservative. Why bring in the Jews to just muddy up the whole thing if his goal is to go into politics? I mean, this isn't going to help his political career anyway.
right. I mean, maybe he had a different objective or a different agenda of trying to single out the Jews, but me, you, and Stanley, we all know that the Jews have power, and that power relates to money. And anytime they feel like that their money is being compromised, they will figure out a way to single you out. But just
So
your mouth.
so is Kanye jealous of Jews? Is this what it's about? Is he jealous of them?
I'm not going to say he's jealous. Maybe he just wants that self-reliance in the Black community. Maybe that's just what he's been seeking, and he's just so fascinated on how the Jewish community can flourish academically, financially, and socially as well. So
So
maybe,
could
yeah, maybe he was talking about them in that, because I'm not going to be that type of judgmental person to just point out Kanye's flaws, because damn it, God knows that I'm a flawed man myself. I think he means well.
But couldn't he have asked the Jews how they did it? I mean, instead of just saying he's going to go DEFCON on them, and is couldn't he have just asked how has the Jewish community be able to flourish academically, business wise, and what can Black people learn from it? Couldn't he have gone that route? Why choose this route?
Black people can learn that you can stand on your own 2 feet, and that's exactly why I've been starting entrepreneurship. So getting. That's why I'm so passionate in business and entrepreneurship. You know, because I wrote that in Discord. You know, we're living in some interesting times right now, and it's important for everyone, especially Black people, to have that self-reliance. You know, and of course, this has nothing to do with like hating on the white man or anything. White man has nothing to do with your success, but try to develop success from within. You know, try to create that. I like what Kanye. I like because he's staying on his own 2 feet. You know, if you had any other celebrity, I'm not sure if they would have that resilience to keep on pushing. You know, he's on phone with politicians every other second of the day now.
But to what end? I mean, even the black community, they're not as enthralled about him and how he's going about the business. So if he wants to help the black community and they're not even excited in the way he's doing it, isn't that counterproductive?
It's counterproductive to those who don't see the mission yet. Because I'm a Republican, and if he votes Republican, if he's representing the Republican Party, then damn it, he'll get my vote.
Oh, so you are that much of a Kanye fan that if he's representing the Republican Party, that they're going to get your vote.
Yes, he is.
Wow. So if he is representing the Democratic Party, would they get your vote as well?
I would have to hear him out first. I'm not going to just see. I'm not just voting for Kanye West because he's Kanye West. You know, I wouldn't do that for any other president. These people have the ability to dictate, like 1/3 of my livelihood for 4 years. So I have to do a lot of research on who I'm voting for.
But that's kind of contrary to what you just said. You said if he's supporting the Republican Party, you're going to vote for the Republican Party. I don't think that took any research on your part. So
Whoa,
why are
whoa,
you taking the
whoa,
research
whoa,
when
whoa,
it comes
whoa,
to
whoa,
Democrats?
whoa, whoa. I have nothing against Democrats personally, but I just noticed that the Republican Party, you have ex-military people. My big brother served in the military. My grandfather served in the military. He was a fan of the Republican Party. My big brother's a fan of the Republican Party. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. So I just noticed that the Republican Party is just more stricter on personal responsibility. Not saying that the left doesn't emphasize it, but when it comes to just taking responsibility of your life, I get more of that. Right.
So it's about, if I get you correctly, it's about personal responsibility,
Right.
the
And I
idea of
believe that.
personal
Right.
responsibility that the Republican Party pushes, not so much because a celebrity
Has nothing
supporting
to do
them.
with has nothing to do with any stuff because my thing is Dwayne Wade. I mean, Dwayne the Rock Johnson
Mm,
was a potential candidate to run for president, representing the Democratic Party, and I wouldn't vote for it. And if I had an option between Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and Kanye West, I'm picking Kanye West. Has nothing to do with any celebrity or political like authority. I just feel like Kanye would just be the better suited candidate for that position because
mm.
because The Rock can run for president too. He has all of the accolades to do it, and people will vote for him.
Okay. So what do you think about um, conservative people who call people who don't agree with them woke? I mean, I gave an example of Andrew Schultz being critical of Candace Owens's take on the death of George Floyd. And many people on the comment section, presumably conservative people, were saying they were not addressing the issue. They just said, oh, Andrew has gone woke. Andrew has gone woke. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think that's in good faith to not address an argument and just label the person woke because they do not agree with you?
I mean, I don't think anyone has the ability to to point out anyone woke if you have events if we're having constant events that are relating towards travesties. So George Floyd, that doesn't make you woke, or any other um, attack on the black community, that doesn't make you woke. These are just people who, because my thing is this, yeah, I'm a brown skinned man, but I'm biracial because my dad's white. Has nothing to do with that, right? Like, someone can try to attempt to kill me. I've had that happen 2 times in my life. Like, you just, like, shit like that can happen to anybody. So you just have to be thankful that you have people on your side that love and support you. Because, like, that George Floyd situation, forget the racism part. Like, that situation can happen to anybody. I don't think that makes you woke. It's just Shit happens in life, you know.
Are you on Twitter?
No, I'm not.
You're not on Twitter. Is there a reason why you're not on Twitter?
I had a Twitter in 2010, but then I liked Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time now, only because I'm in serious business. I love LinkedIn because you're able to network and make all of these connections. So it's pretty cool. But I'm going to create a Twitter soon.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So, do you have any other comments on what we've discussed so far?
You know, like I like how I'm actually proud of Kanye. I like his I like his viewpoints, you know, and a person who's a representative of the Republican Party, I'm going to keep on emphasizing self-reliance and personal responsibility, you know, so just keep it at that.
Mm. Okay, so Stanley, um, do you have any points on what Zachariah has said so far?
About 4 or 5. Um, I remember Zachariah on the last show, uh, or was it the one before? You said that you pretty much identify as white, correct?
No, I identify as black. It's just,
Okay, well
yeah,
that shifted.
I always, I mean, I'm clearly a brown-skinned man, right?
That wasn't my question.
Yeah, no, it's just, I always identify as black, though.
Okay, just checking. So, I wrote them down. I think Kanye went after Jews because it wouldn't piss off MAGA. Second point, the black community. Well, actually, um, where Zachariah, which do you live in the South?
No, I don't. My big brother.
Okay, we can stop there. Not going to get very specific about your community. Um, my
What do
point
you
is
mean? What do you mean? What do you
the
mean? What
black
do you mean? What do you
community
mean? What do you
does
mean my
not
community? What do you mean
support
my community?
Kanye.
What do you mean?
He's almost like a Michael Jackson character, at least in the South. Um, I think the point Charles made about right wokeness still applies. Um, you know, virtue signaling is not a a political thing necessarily. Um, so those are my comments.
So, Zach was asking you, what do you mean when you said your people?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by that? Like,
I didn't say your people, did I?
I mean, I could have sworn you said your people.
Oh, you don't. No, I didn't say that. You don't live in the South. I have no idea who your people are. It's not something I wonder about.
Right? I'm sure you, and I'm sure you don't have to. I'm sure
Good.
you really don't want to. You know,
Zach, are you mixed race?
technically I am because my dad's mixed race and his father is white. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. So
Well,
why do you identify?
just so you know, Zach, I have no problem with mixed race. My son is mixed race. My point is that the whole point about black people actually support Kanye.
Right.
I disagree with that to a large degree. My question is, do you live in the South? Do you live around a lot of black people?
I mean, I haven't been exposed.
Well, yes or no.
I mean, I can't give you a yes or no because my life has just been filled with nuanced experiences. Just haven't been. I've been exposed.
Currently, do you live or have you ever lived around a lot of black people?
No.
Okay, we can stop there.
So, Zach, is it possible that there's a disconnect between your experiences and the experiences of most Black people in America? Is it possible?
Oh yeah, oh definitely. I'm probably like number one when it comes to that. And what's so ironic is my cousin is a rapper.
Your cousin is what?
And black people are defined by being a rapper.
It has nothing to do with that. I was just answering the question that Charles responded to, that Charles, wanted to ask me. But what's interesting about my cousin is that he's just as smart as I am. He just decided to just be a rapper. So
So your dad is mixed race. Your grandfather is white. Does your dad identify as white or black?
he identified more on his black side,
Why is that so?
only because he used to get picked on a lot for being light skinned, and he has to end up fighting. So if he resorted more on his black
Picked
side,
on by who?
the darker skinned blacks.
So he wanted to be like the people who were picking on him. That's weird.
Not, no, not at all. He has to defend himself in that area, right? But he chose his black side only because he grew up around a lot of blacks. That's number one. And number two, if he blended in with that crew, right, it would it would make him more socially acceptable towards his peers. Had nothing to do with him like falling under peer pressure, because there was a point in time where my father would fight almost every day in school because he would be getting picked on. He would have to defend himself. So he wasn't some guy that was just getting picked on all day. No, he was a guy that would slap the fucking shit out of you if he had to defend himself. He still would to this day. That's just my family. We're just a family of fighters. Sorry I got too passionate, but
Interesting. Interesting. So, okay, there's one more point I wanted us to cover before we end the stream. So, did you guys see the video of those activists defacing those artworks in a museum or something where they took, was it food or paint or something, and they smeared it on the artwork and basically handcuffed themselves? Did you see that, Stanley? Did you see that, Zach?
I'm aware of the story. They threw what, tomato sauce or something on the Mona Lisa.
Yep. What
I
do you think
think
about
it's.
that kind of
I think.
behavior?
I think it's abominable. Abominable.
Why is it abominable? I
Well,
mean,
the
they are
Mona
drawing
Lisa.
attention to they're drawing
Well,
attention to a bigger problem.
and what would that problem be?
Climate change.
I think throwing tomato sauce at the Mona Lisa um, defeated their point. The Mona Lisa has nothing to do with climate change.
Those guys are just goofy. When I saw that, I was like, why isn't anyone slapping the shit out of these people? I mean,
Well, no.
just like,
First thing I thought is, what were they thinking?
good Lord. I mean, if you're so passionate about the climate, why are you requiring other people to do things? What can you do yourself? Why aren't you doing what you can do?
Like
Why is it the
plant a tree.
responsibility? Exactly. Why is it the responsibility of a museum to do something? It just feels like they are spoiled children
Well,
throwing a
it's Kanye
tantrum.
West like. Let's draw attention. Um, Not to our point. Let's just make news.
Also, I, I mean, those guys at the museum, they took it too calmly because I don't think I'd be that calm if someone was defacing my property that way. Well, so this is one hour of this conversation, 1 hour of a
One
fruitful
last
conversation.
question to
All right,
Zachariah.
go ahead.
Is your father from the South? Is your family from the South of America? I mean.
No, no, well, no.
Okay.
I, I, I just, I just know that we're Caucasian, and my grandma's from Lima, Ohio.
Cool.
That's great.
All right. So, fruitful conversation. Talked about wokeness. Talked about Kanye. We talked about Musk. And Zachariah, you did not give any thoughts on Musk and his purchases, but that's fine. That's fine. So, thank you guys for coming to the stream today. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you like the conversations that we have on this channel and you want to support us, you're very free to support us with super chats and super stickers. And if you also want to support us on Patreon, that option is there. The links are in the description of the video. So, Stanley, any final thoughts before we hang up for today? Before Zachariah, then we're done.
No, I enjoyed it.
Cool, cool. Zach,
Great experience with Stanley, Charles.
yeah. So it's always a pleasure talking to you guys. I like more people to join the conversation so that we have more robust conversations like we used to have before. So I saw Templar, well done. I can see you, Harry. Thanks for coming as well. Um, okay, so just Templar and Unpopular too. Unpopular was around. So thank you guys, and I will catch you in another live stream. So it's goodbye for now.